And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, 1 Kings 17:1. It began with silence, not the holy hush of reverence, but the eerie quiet of a nation under judgment. Heaven had closed its windows, no rain, no dew, no voice. Israel, once ablaze with covenant glory, was now cracked, dry and crumbling beneath the weight of her idolatry. Kings had compromised, priests had been bought, altars had been abandoned, and the people no longer knew the sound of Yahweh's voice. But God still had a man. From the rough hills of Gilead came a prophet like thunder rolling through the wilderness. Elijah, whose name means Yahweh is my God, didn't emerge from the courts of power or the schools of prophets. He stepped into history with fire in his bones and eternity in his eyes. He wasn't sent to play it safe. He was sent to confront a system, call down fire and turn hearts back to God. He stood before King Ahab with no fear in his voice and no apology in his message. As the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And with that, the drought began, not just in the sky, but in the soul of a rebellious nation. But before God would use Elijah publicly, he hid him privately. First at the brook Cherith, fed by ravens, taught by silence, molded by obedience. Then in Zarephath, where oil multiplied, a widow's son was raised, and Elijah learned the power of intimacy with God in secret. Before the fire falls on mountains, it must first burn in hidden places. Then came Mount Carmel, a nation gathered at a crossroad. The prophets of Baal danced, screamed, bled, and heaven said nothing. But when Elijah rebuilt the broken altar with 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel, it was a prophetic declaration. No matter how far you've fallen, you still belong to God. He poured water on the sacrifice, not once, but 3 times. Why? Because when fire falls, it must be clear. This is not man's doing, but God's glory. Then he prayed, not long, but with power. Answer me, O Lord, that this people may know that you are God, and that you have turned their hearts back again. And the fire of the Lord fell. It consumed the sacrifice, the stones, the water, and every remnant of doubt. That day a prophet called down heaven. That day the people fell on their faces and cried, "The Lord, he is God." That day a revolutionary shook a nation and reopened the heavens. But even prophets feel the weight of their mantle. Jezebel's threat sent him into the wilderness, exhausted and suicidal. He collapsed under a broom tree, ready to quit, but God did not scold him. He fed him, he refreshed him. And then in the stillness of Horeb, God whispered. Elijah learned that true revolution is not in noise and spectacle alone, but in the still, small voice that raises the dead, restores the weary, and calls forth sons and daughters to finish what was started. And when his time was done, the fire that once fell on the altar came for the man himself. He did not die. A chariot of fire carried him home, a prophetic sign that those who walk in the fire will not be consumed, but will be caught up in glory. The spirit of Elijah is rising again. It is the spirit that confronts compromise, repairs altars, and calls down the fire of God's presence. It is not popular, but it is powerful. It is not safe, but it is sacred. God is raising revolutionary prophets of fire, not entertainers, but intercessors, not celebrities, but carriers of the covenant, not echo chambers, but voices crying in the wilderness, "Prepare the way of the Lord." The question is not whether fire will fall, it will. The question is, who will rebuild the altar? The God of Elijah is waiting for his Elijahs in this generation.